back again, finally, with Quarling, Joey, and Dave Carr, your host. We're going to do a preview about the rematch between Gennady Golovkin and Canelo Alvarez that's coming up this Saturday on pay-per-view.
What's up, boys and girls?
What's going on?
I don't know if you had the opportunity to watch the first fight, Quarling, recently, but Joey and I watched it simultaneously and we scored it. And we both had it 8-4.
Okay, Jim, 116, 112. I watched it really drunk live. I watched it probably maybe right before Canelo got suspended for the rematch in May. Like, I think he got suspended on like March 5th or something, and I might have watched it like a few days before that. And I watched it simultaneously with someone, like I did with you yesterday, Dave. And I watched it yesterday. So only 3 times I ever watched it, and I scored it the same all 3 times.
Well, the time I watched it with you just now, that was my second time watching it, and I don't think I saw a difference. I think I had it 8-4 the first time, 8-4 this last time. I don't see where Canelo got 6 rounds in that fight. Don't see it. Don't see it.
Oh, man, I'm laughing. I can't wait. This is going to be good. Come on.
You watched it, obviously, more than once. You saw it live, and you probably saw it again.
So I saw it the first time with my girl live, and I saw it the second time with my girl last night. I'm going to tell you this. I had it 7-5, both times, both ways. For Triple G, of course. You know, let's not act like Canelo won this fight. But this is the thing that we have to take note of. And this is the only reason why I have it 7-5. The only reason why I have it 7-5, because it should have been 9-3. It should have been 10-2. You know, it was one of those fights when you take into account the pressure that Triple G was putting on Canelo and Canelo retreating, you know, so willingly to the ropes. Triple G didn't land enough punches. You know, he just didn't land enough.
And you attribute some of that to Canelo's defense. And, you know, during the fight, we're watching it yesterday. Like, we literally had it synchronized, like down to the second. We're seeing the same thing at the same time. There was a point where Canelo goes up against the ropes, and he's making Golovkin miss. And when he does start to fire back, Golovkin catches everything in his gloves. And I say, wow, 2 really underrated defenses. But I do think Canelo's defense is better.
See, the thing is that, so you said underrated defense, because I actually did say that yesterday. I was like, wow, I don't remember G's defense being this good. Number one, G is a master of distance. I'm going to tell you, when he cuts off the ring and he's sitting here looking at ways to attack, he's a master of distance. He's a great offensive fighter.
I was disappointed because in this fight, in the first fight, he really didn't cut the ring off very well. He was following, and not only that, but he was headhunting, and he was being...
Why was he headhunting? I'll say another thing. The way that he was punching, look at the way he was punching up Vanis Martirosyan. Look at the way he's punching up Willie Monroe. He's not afraid in those fights of anything coming back of substance.
And in this
Canelo fight,
there was a concern.
The way he was punching off the back foot instead of the front foot. He wasn't punching with as much authority as he usually does.
Right.
Not all of the time, but some of the time.
You know what? It was actually most of the time, because if you look, let's take it like this, Joey. Anything outside of a jab, how much did that land? Because I saw Triple G missing a lot of power shots. And that's kind of what you have to do to win. That's what you have to do against Canelo. In these times, and with all the politics in Canelo's favor, what do you have to do to win? You either have to knock him out or hit him with that kitchen sink in order for the judges to be like, you know what, we can't give anything to Canelo.
Make every round unquestionable. But
unless Mrs. Bird is there.
Mrs. Bird is there.
We saw whitewash rounds that she was getting.
But I think that's established that she's not going to be there. I think that's already been put into kind of like a little legislation to where she's not going to be put there.
It's interesting to bring up, you know, the judges. I think it's 2 of the guys are East Coast guys. They bring in Benji Estevez as the referee. He's an East Coast guy. He's a guy that lets people fight. He's not going to be quick to break it up. Kenny Bayless, I think, did a really good job in that fight. Tony Weeks gets criticized, but the East Coast refs are more like fan-friendly refs because they let them go. They let them fight out of the clinch. They let the action continue. They don't get involved. That's actually not a good thing for Canelo, because if it gets, on the inside, and I was pointing it out yesterday to David, there were a lot of times where Canelo looked tired or gassed, or, the times where he was evading and then he would stop. He kind of threw both hands up and he was leaning forward. He was setting himself up for uppercuts on the inside. And if Golovkin did that, a little more of that, whether they were body or head, it didn't matter. Just throw uppercuts. If he did that more, and if he would have just stepped to the right and just cut the ring a little more, which he wasn't doing, he might have got Canelo out of there.
Yeah, he wasn't cutting the ring. And Canelo...
You don't have to worry about 9 rounds to 3 or 10 rounds to 2. He might have got Canelo out of there.
For some reason, I was under the impression that Canelo was really light on his feet, and he was much better conditioned. But when I watched it again, Canelo was gassing out just the same as always. He was really low output for most of the middle rounds. And
You're absolutely right. Absolutely right.
So...
and Corlin, one other thing. Did you notice that Canelo would fight for about a minute each round, and then the rest of the round he was kind of evading? He was trying to win a chunk of the round and evade the rest, and whatever he did in that chunk, hoping that was going to be good enough to win the round if he didn't let Golovkin catch him the rest of the round.
If you wanna think about it, that's something that his promoter did also, Oscar De La Hoya. He was known for gassing out, and what he would do is conserve himself for the first 2 minutes of a round, and then he would fight the last 45 seconds to the last minute of a round, and then would captivate the judges' hearts in that manner.
The judges for this fight are going to be Dave Moretti, Glenn Feldman, and Steve Weisfeld. Your thoughts on those 3 guys?
Well, Moretti was one of he was the only one from the first fight.
Yep.
And he actually scored the fight for Golovkin.
Yep.
Glenn Feldman and who else?
Steve Weisfeld.
You know what? They're 3 credible judges. All 3 of them. They are. And I do believe they're all 3 East Coast judges, right or wrong.
Right.
Weisfeld is from Connecticut. And look, Golovkin's fought here. He's fought a lot here. And he might have had them on his... we can go back and check. That's fine. He might have had them at the Garden out of all the times he's fought at the Garden or at the theater at Madison Square Garden. Or, you know what I mean? He might have had them several times, and they're used to seeing him. They're used to seeing that style. And they're not used to seeing, if Canelo comes in, same strategy, and it's like you're used to seeing Canelo counter and trade and move a little and move his upper body, and, he does have good upper body movement, and he actually showed that he can use his feet. Watching it back, I don't think it was as impressive as I thought. It wasn't like he was moving and punching and counter-punching. He was evading. He does move his upper body good. But no one's used to seeing Canelo do what he did. And if these 3 judges are so used to Golovkin's style and how he comes forward and everything else he does, and not used to seeing Canelo fight the way he fought the last time, I can easily see, Golovkin winning on the card.
One of the issues I have with Glenn Feldman, he was the judge in the Robert Easter Jr. versus Javier Fortuna fight, and he gave he gave the fight to Easter, and there was Javier Fortuna got robbed in that fight. So
yes.
There's a potential of some fuckery going on in this fight too, if he doesn't score this fight right.
Let me tell you this, and I'll tell you this, because what we've talked about, right, is a lot of stuff that have nothing to do with the 2 fighters, all right?
Right.
And I know you have to take that into account with Canelo, but at the same time, though, let's go ahead and put it like this. If we're talking about judges, if we're talking about all of that, to me, and this is what I saw, even with the first fight, the only thing that Triple G was better than Canelo in is conditioning. Won him, in our eyes, the fight. But perceptively, skills-wise, Canelo's better. He's better. Better defense. I'll even go as far to see, as to say he has a comparable offense. I don't think that this fight is as close as you say it is. In terms of the skills, it's not a 50-50 fight. Canelo's eyes, the way he sees openings, and the thing is that everybody says, why doesn't Triple G just go to the body? If he goes to the body this time, he's going to get countered to death.
Not if he's in close.
You know what? But the thing is that if you notice, look at Canelo. Now, he did get tired in the middle rounds. Absolutely. We're not disputing that. But in the early rounds, we're talking about round 3, Canelo has his hands down avoiding punches masterfully, easily. It seems like he sees everything that Triple G is throwing at him. He lost the third round, that's fine. But at the same time, though, the way he's avoiding punches other than a jab, and I don't even know if Triple G can jab more. I mean, I don't see anything that he can do in order to make it better other than go to the body. But, man, if he does, I'm telling you, that uppercut is coming either hand. So, and it's coming hard. Canelo throws hard punches, man. Those are some hard punches he throws, and they're fast. A lot of those punches Triple G didn't see, and he was getting hit with a lot of those. Just saying. I know what the punch stats say. I know what the punch stats say, but
I hear what you're saying.
It looked different to me.
This fight was a draw. What does Canelo need to do to make it a win?
Be in better shape. Conditioning. That's it.
I don't think it's possible.
Okay, now we can argue that. That's fine.
But especially if he's clean and not on the PEDs and not eating the tainted meats, I don't think his allegedly, I don't think his conditioning is going to be there. And we discussed this in one of the episodes of the boxing break. But what else aside from his conditioning? Because he was just sitting on the ropes trying to counter. He really wasn't doing. In my eyes, he really wasn't doing enough to get a win. So what does he need to do to beat Golovkin?
Nothing. Strategically, nothing. Strategically, it was perfect. All he had to do, and let's just put it out there, he was on the ropes because he was more fatigued. All he had to do, retreat, that's fine, turn Golovkin around, and then just meet him in the center of the ring, pepper him with punches. If you want to go backwards, that's fine. Defensively, it's nothing Canelo can do differently, because I thought it was a masterful performance defensively. Offensively, it's just a punch output thing, and that's it.
I thought he did well in some of the exchanges. I think he might have even won most of the exchanges when they traded in the middle of the ring. I think if Canelo can do more of that, he can win the fight. We watched. David, did you watch the 24/7? I watched it. Chepo's talking, and he's saying it's not that hard to beat Golovkin. Well, I don't know how you say that when you didn't beat him the first time. But he says it's not that hard to beat Golovkin. We're not going to change much of what we do. So if they're going to change anything, they're going to tell Canelo, trade more, because you have faster hands and you're a better counterpuncher. Because he is. Golovkin is really, basically, fundamentally sound. He really is. He's really good. He's really relentless. The pressure he applies is usually too much for pretty much anyone he faces.
It's extremely dangerous for Canelo to throw combinations and to trade, and that's why he didn't do it in the first time, because Golovkin will throw shots at very strange angles, and
he does.
In an exchange, Golovkin is going to get a shot in that Canelo's not going to see. So I think that's why Canelo was very careful. You have to also keep in mind that in this last fight, Canelo was outlanded by 60 punches. Golovkin outlanded him by 60 shots.
Over 12 rounds, it really wasn't that much, though.
It's still considerable, and it's something that shows that Canelo wasn't active enough, and it was evenly spread through the rounds too. So,
but is it fair to say if Canelo is more active, it's the way he wins the fight, but it could also be the way he loses the fight too?
Yes.
Interesting.
I think so, because he's going to open up. If he opens up and tries to throw combinations with Golovkin, tries to exchange with Golovkin is going to slip something in that Canelo's not going to see, and I think that's not going to be good for Canelo.
The thing is that I'm just kind of glad that you brought up to the punch stats. But this is the thing that I've seen, and I see this with Canelo. There's a lot of fighters, and the most recent fight that I can just think of just off the top of the head, Mayweather-Cotto, okay? Mayweather basically let Cotto hit him with jabs, all right? Hands down, and, Cotto's hitting him with jabs and peppering him with stuff.
Cotto had a great job.
The thing is that's not where the fight was won. The fight was won because Mayweather didn't let Cotto hit him with that left hook that he's famous for. Same thing in this Triple G Canelo fight. Triple G hit Canelo with jabs. He did. G has a great jab. a great jab, and it's relentless. It only adds to the pressure that he brings, and it adds to his offensive arsenal. But at the same time, how many left hooks did you see really land? Now, it was a
No,
couple
but he
of
landed a
straight
lot
right.
of straight overhand rights, though.
Yeah.
You know what? It was some straight overhands, but you know what I remember more about Triple G's, rights, those straight rights, not landing. Canelo doing that little move when he was on the ropes, and then boom, he would just turn his head to the side and wheel to the left.
They both
It
missed a
happened.
lot of punches. Look, at the end of the day, think about this. Golovkin threw almost 200 more punches. 200 more punches. Their connect percentage was only 2% difference.
Absolutely.
That's it. That's it.
Absolutely. Canelo's defense is more than solid to me, especially with a dude like Triple G. Think about that. Triple G doesn't exactly he does, but he's not a guy who's gonna pick spots and outpoint you. He's coming in to knock you out. He's coming in to screw your head off. And he didn't do that. He tried, but he couldn't. What is he going to do to adjust this time other than go to the body and crouch down a little bit lower and give up his chin more? That's what I'm getting at.
Canelo's going to go about the same strategy and maybe just be a little more offensive. Golovkin is going, when he does have Canelo in the corner, because he will gas. He gasses every fight. He gasses against Trout. He gasses against Lara. He gasses against everybody.
Right.
So he will gas, especially under relentless pressure that he'll get again, like he did the first fight.
Right, but
what
if
Golovkin needs to do is when he does have Canelo in those moments against the ropes, he needs to kind of be ready. He has to kind of anticipate to step right, because the only way Canelo was escaping the entire first fight was to his left. If Golovkin steps right, he cuts that off, and then maybe that's the opportunity. Like, Canelo's so worried about getting out of there, let me dig to the body. Boom.
I think that Golovkin is going to have to, for this fight, for him to be able to win this fight, he needs to go to the body early. He needs to forget about trying to land a shot on the head and take away Canelo's legs and really, really gas him out midway through the fight. I mean, if Canelo loses his legs in this fight, he's done. He is done. If he can't get out of the way, he is done. So I would try to direct Golovkin to cut the ring a little bit better than he did last time, instead of chasing, and to start feinting to the head but going to the body. And I think that's the way he can stop Canelo. If Canelo comes in flat because of losing muscle mass, that's even going to be worse for him. For Canelo to win this fight, for me, he's going to have to box. I don't see him knocking out Golovkin.
Nope.
He's
I don't
going to
think
have
there's going to
to
be any
box
knockout,
and
and anybody who thinks there's a knockout,
box and move, and he has to outland Golovkin. He just can't. I can't see a boxer.
No, I think he can win the fight if he has an even output.
Yep.
If it's an even output, because Canelo does land more. He lands more power shots than he lands jabs. And Golovkin does throw his jab a lot, so he does land a lot of jabs. So there's a disparity there. But if Canelo can,
that's all he needed against David Lemieux.
if Canelo can establish a good jab and keep distance, then he has a chance of winning on the cards. I don't see Canelo knocking him out.
The thing that y'all are bringing up, though, and I just need to put this out there one more time. Y'all are talking about Canelo and taking away his legs when he doesn't have great legs to begin with. He doesn't have the fastest feet at all. He's kind of, think about this, he's a faster-handed Danny Garcia. If you think about it, a faster-handed, more flashy, a more cultivated, more gathered Danny Garcia.
But better upper body movement.
Much better upper body movement. So think about that. His legs was only a part of the reason, but it was a very minor reason in why he won the fight, because Triple G can cut off the ring and really take your legs off away from you. Now what are you operating on? A lot of that defense that Canelo displayed was against the ropes, when he really couldn't go anywhere, when he didn't have anywhere to turn. His upper body is what won, or what got him that quote unquote draw.
And that's
all that it needs to be. It's not about legs with Canelo. So if you're talking about taking away legs, Triple G already takes those away with every fighter.
But if
every
the
fighter
body
that likes to be on the back foot, he takes those away. Canelo wins this fight, and he wins it with his defense. But all he has to do is come in a little bit better shape. He was a little bit bulkier in that first fight.
This is your prediction? This is your official
prediction? It's official. I think that Canelo wins this fight, and he wins it convincingly. I don't think it's going to be a knockout, but I think he wins it when both guys are standing. I'll have to go 8-4. I can't see anything outside of a jab landing effectively and consistently.
Because Canelo doesn't have great movement and he gasses out. If Golovkin focuses on the body, if the legs are not moving, neither is the torso. So no matter how much head movement and feints and all that, if you're gonna start landing body shots and liver shots and straights to the midsection, it doesn't matter what your upper body's doing. It's gonna land and it's gonna affect Golovkin. So
Canelo's looking for this guy to go down to the body. That's all I got to say. He's looking for that. He's waiting on that. I'm telling you, look at this fight the second time around. Watch where these uppercuts come from. If Triple G really tries to make a concerted effort to go down to the body, we're going to see what happens.
So,
and it's not going to be good for Triple G.
So you have it 8-4 for Canelo. Joey, what do you have?
Maybe a little closer, because I think just based on what Canelo's camp was saying, that they didn't have to change much. I think they know that they have to be a little more offensive in order to win the fight, and that could open up holes for Triple G to land. But at the same time, this is boxing. There is a lot of variables that I don't trust, and I think that Canelo will do enough to make it look close enough, and Oscar's wallet will come out.
Don't say a draw.
Oscar's wallet will come out, and they will find a way to finish off Golovkin and give Canelo a questionable win. I wouldn't say it's going to be crazy to say that Canelo won the fight. I'm going to say a lot of people will be split on it. I think it'll be a little closer than the first fight, but I think Canelo pulls it out with a little more help than last time.
Here's my prediction. I think that Golovkin was a bit nervous in the first fight, and it was a big stage. It was a big fight, and he didn't seem himself. I think that's all going to go away. And Golovkin,
I think you're right about that.
And Golovkin,
because he looked like he got a little gassed early too.
And
maybe like in the third round when we were watching it, he looked a little winded. And I think it was from being overly excited about being part of something so big.
He seemed very, very tense. But Golovkin and Abel Sanchez know that they're not going to win a decision. So I think that the plan is going to be to look to knock out Canelo Alvarez, and they're going to look to go to the body and to open up and to look for exchanges so that they can get this guy out of here. And that's going to be my prediction. My prediction is going to be that he's going to be more relaxed. He's going to be more the Golovkin that we know, and he's going to knock Canelo out, or they're going to stop it. I don't think it's going to go to the cards. I don't think Golovkin's going to win if it goes to the cards because of Oscar. And I'm going to say this: Oscar to me is probably one of the most corrupt of the promoters out there. I think he's got his hands in judges' pockets, and I may edit this out later, so I don't want to get sued. But just between us, But I think that Oscar is super corrupt. So I think that Abel recognizes that, and Abel and Golovkin recognize that the only way they're going to win this fight is if they knock Golovkin out, and I think that they're going to go with a solid plan, not headhunting again, trying to get a 1-point knockout. They're going to look to break this guy down like Golovkin usually does with all of his other opponents. So that's what I'm going to look for.
If anyone can do it, just to add to that, if anyone can do it trainer-wise, it will be Abel Sanchez. Whatever I think about the guy, He's a great trainer, man, and always has his fighters in shape and ready to go.
Yes.
I want to add one thing because there has been so much bad blood, and you could say this side is angry, this side is angry. As far as anger goes and fighting angry, it's usually it makes for a very sloppy fight or a sloppy fighter. It's not good to fight angry, actually. It's the guy that stays composed, sticks to the game plan, et cetera, et cetera. That's the guy that, usually can, he'll be better off to execute like that. Who do you think is more angry about, the bad blood over the last 6 months? And who do you think that anger affects more?
Oh man, if I'll take that, it's G, hands down.
He's
This
more
dude,
angry.
absolutely. Look, man, his career, even messing with Canelo, touching this dude, sharing the ring with him, delayed his career. Triple G was fighting 3 times a year. I mean, and that was actually pretty consistent. And look what happened when he was attached to Canelo's name. All of a sudden, now you got to go at his speed, and now you got to jump through hoops, and this guy vacating belts in order to look, man. Nothing at this point can come out 100% good by fighting Canelo. It's hard, man. It's hard to overcome. Triple G is used to being active. He's used to being a lot of things. All of a sudden, he gets attached with Canelo, and then he has to jump through all these hoops. Look, man, Triple G has every right to be angry. He has every right to feel disrespected.
Does that anger affect him on fight night?
I don't think it affects him just because I think that Triple G is one of those guys. He's a veteran. He's good. He's been here before. He kind of knows what big fights are, not to this degree, but, I mean, he went through the first one, I think that this fight, this second time around, has actually been better promoted than the first one. The first one was coined as this war and this, that, and the other. It's a lot of stuff that's been built up to this point if you've been following it, even remotely following it. Triple G has every right to be upset. I think he uses it to his advantage, kind of, but I don't think it's going to be enough. I really don't think so. Any skills are going to pay the bills in this one, and Canelo, without emotion, can win this fight.
I think that Golovkin is going to be upset till he gets his paycheck, and then it's going to go away. Because we have to consider that the only reason he's fighting Canelo is because he's going to make a lot more money than if he were fighting other guys right now. And that's why he waited for Canelo. That's why he took the fight again. Although ethically, I wouldn't have taken the fight. I would have said, fuck you, Canelo. I'm not going to fight a cheater. And I would just kept going.
Right, and shouldn't have taken that Matarosian fight either. He should have fought Darren Vinchenko, but that's another story for another day.
To me, that wouldn't have mattered. No one cares about Martirosyan. Nobody knows Derevyanchenko. I think he should have fought him too.
Jacobs is going to take care of Derevyanchenko, so it's going to be a non-issue. But so Joey, you have Canelo by unanimous decision via fuckery.
I'm going to say. You know what? I'll say unanimous 7-5.
7-5. Corling, you have.
If it's scored right, then it should be about 8-4 or 9-3. I'll say 8-4 because I do respect Triple G like that. But it should be unanimous decision. Canelo, to be honest with you, don't be surprised if Canelo stops this dude with an uppercut when Triple G is trying to go to the body. Since y'all want to put so much stock on that, an uppercut could stop Triple G.
And I'm going to say Golovkin by knockout by the 8th. It's not
early if he started early.
Yes.
If he gets started early going to the body and he's getting away with landing punches down there, the 8th round wouldn't be early.
Yeah, I mean, but it's that means that it would be, like he said, a methodical breakdown.
Oh yeah.
Of Canelo. That would be if he knocks out Canelo in the 8th. If he knocks him out in the 8th, that's a masterful performance, and I'll have to come over here and eat crow. That would be masterful if he does that. I just can't see how.
Corling,
that would be the best tasting crow.
Canelo landed nothing in the first fight that affected Golovkin. Golovkin walked in through the hardest shots that Canelo was able to land, and he was completely unfazed. So I don't think there's anything that Canelo can offer other than higher rate of higher work rate and movement, and he just doesn't have the stamina for that.
Yeah, you're probably right, but on the flip side, you can't walk through shots forever, especially when you don't see them.
Yeah.
You cannot walk through shots forever. Even the best of chins have expiration dates.
We have our predictions in. Let's see what happens this Saturday in Las Vegas between Canelo Alvarez and Gennady Golovkin. So long for now. We'll see you next time. This is Dave Carr with
Joey and Corley. If I'm eating crow, pass the hot sauce.
Yes, sir.